Greetings, African family. Welcome to another episode of Clear Thinking with Brother Dulani. This week, we're going to be addressing some international issue, an issue surrounding refugee status, white supremacy, white South African, Donald Trump, and Elon Musk. Tune in while we explore this fascinating version of imperialism. Yes, my people, this is the center, the place for clear and incisive analysis, clear thinking about what is going on in the African world. We are going to be talking about issues facing African people. We're talking about the issue of justice. We're talking about fairness. We also always try to show the historical connection between current event and also the evolution of the history of African people and our relationship to other people. Now, in the news recently, we have heard a lot of fanfare about the Trump administration policy towards the white South African people. I mean, they've had a rough relationship between Trump and South Africa, and the United States and South Africa have had a rocky relationship in the past few years, particularly with South Africa's position uh, concerning the Palestinian issue and the Israeli situation and with the ongoing genocide that's taking place in Palestine. And as the world is aware, South Africa took the bold step of taking Israel to the International Court of Justice um, and also the International Criminal Courts. So a lot of those policies are still ongoing, a lot of those issues are still ongoing, and a lot of the, well, I would say there's a split between imperialism in terms of how they feel about taking Israel and hold them accountable for their actions in Palestine. Many people have labeled it as genocide, of brutal collective punishment on a population. South Africa has went a step further and decided to take them to court and hold them accountable. Now, that's just a backdrop on the rocky relationship. Now, with the ascension of Donald Trump and Elon Musk, Donald Trump being the president and Elon Musk being the prime minister of America, with Elon Musk's background as being born in South Africa, his grandfather from Canada, they all support this far right movement that believe in the superiority of white people. You know, they went to South Africa to aid with the Afrikaners and the Boers and the white minority domination of black people in South Africa. And Elon Musk has grown tremendously and has become the richest man in the world through his takeover of technology company, through his manipulation of the financial markets, and also being able to maneuver himself within the halls of power. Hence, he's now considered to be the richest man in the world. Well, as we all know, he bankrolled Donald Trump campaign. I've heard figures that he spent, roughly around $250 million to support Donald Trump campaign. And as a result, Donald Trump has rewarded him with a position of power. Some would call it the Prime Minister of America. But anyway, just a little backdrop, just a little, give you a little flavor for the relationship between Elon Musk and Donald Trump and now South Africa. Being that he's from South Africa, he's born there, obviously he got the ears of Donald Trump. He can pump any kind of rhetoric, any kind of falsehood to Donald Trump. And I think as a result, they have been feeding this information that somehow there's a genocide taking place in South Africa, that somehow the government or black people are trying to wipe out white people in South Africa. And, in all honesty and decency, No one in this world, no journalist, no source, no government, there's not one shred of evidence to support this wild, fantastical claim. But in the realm of Donald Trump, facts does not matter. The truth does not matter. They're driven ideologically by white supremacy. And as long as it involves white people, they will be using power to defend white people. And as a result now, Donald Trump has went ahead and labeled the situation in South Africa as a genocide and has granted the Afrikaners, the white people in South Africa, have granted them access into America, grant them refugee status, fast track them into the refugee program and right into America. Now let's put this in some context because America has a refugee program. Since Donald Trump came to power, he has suspended this refugee program. There's at least 160,000 people that qualify, pre-qualify for refugee status into America. And he has suspended it indefinitely. However, he made an exception for the white South Africans. So they can apply. And according to some statistics that I've seen, around 70,000 of them are ready to apply. So he has carried the first load. I think 59 was shipped in. They flew in by plane, and it was greeted and with big old banners. Thank you, Mr. Trump, and waving the American flags and claiming that they are a victim of genocide. Now, this is a situation that we need to look at because it's very indicative of how some parts of imperialism operates. There is a part of imperialism that operates with white supremacy at the core of their thinking, that white people need to be protected at all costs, that the interests of white people need to be secure at all costs, whether it's perceived, whether it's truth, whether it's false, it doesn't matter. And this is where you see sheer raw power at work. And they've been able to implement their policy. Black and brown people are not allowed to come into America. And we're going to deal with America in a few minutes because I don't even accept that premise that they're using. But we're going to just, for the sake of this discussion, we're going to go along with the narrative for the moment. And then we're going to get into the criminal enterprise of America. Now, if you look at the policy towards black people, our Haitian brothers and sisters in Haiti, as we know, there has been a lot of violence, a lot of poverty, a lot of desperation taking place there. Definitely are entitled to some kind of support, relief, whatever. None for the Haitian people. Our brothers and sisters in the Congo are going through hell. You see the images coming out. People are fleeing for their lives and all kind of atrocity. No status for them. We haven't seen any such atrocity taking place in South Africa. And even the South African white people, some of them are saying there is none. It's absurd. So what is behind this? Well, what is behind this is historically, in the last 500 years, imperialism and capitalism has been wrapped in white supremacy. White supremacy has been a core part of imperialism. And they use that as a way of expanding white power, white privilege, white position around the globe. And they do at any cost, they go at any cost to secure that and to enforce that. So now Elon Musk comes, he spread these lies about South Africa, that there's genocide taking place in South Africa. Now, what is really going on in South Africa? The truth in South Africa is that white people came to South Africa and through many years of settlement have taken the land from those people. taking that land out of some type of manifest destiny, some type of innate rights that they can just leave all the way from Europe and go thousands of miles and take people land, and now they become owners of the land. They can set up their administration, set up their various projects, and now they are the owner of the land. They have went to the extent of passing laws that prevent African people from owning land in South Africa. Now, over the years, white people now makes up about 7% of the population in South Africa. Yet, they own between, it depends on who is doing the counting, between 70 and 90% of the best land in South Africa, the fruitful land, the agricultural land in South Africa is owned by white people, and they are only 7% of the population, yet they hold more than 70 to 90% of the land. Now, where's the justice in that? These people are foreigners, they are invaders, they are colonizers. And now the government, well, the people of South Africa has been demanding for years, ever since the African people have taken over that country in 1994, under the leadership of Nelson Mandela. There's been a call for reform in their country. There's been a call for land reform to redistribute the land back to the African people. And the government has been slow, they've been dragging their feet, they've been reluctant because they don't want to offend, they don't want to do anything to upset white supremacy or upset white people or upset international finance capital. They didn't want the financial class or the ruling class to be offended or feel a ways or decided to withdraw the financial support of South Africa. So they have been dragging their feet in dealing with the land reform issue. But the people of South Africa, particularly with the EFF, the Economic Freedom Fighter, under the leadership of Julius Malema, they have been calling, they have been clamoring, they have been crying, they have been demanding land reform. They have been demanding land reform in South Africa year in and year out. But the South African government has been reluctant and they've been dragging their feet. Now, that issue has come back around. They have found a way to pass some weak laws in South Africa recently that says that if there's land in South Africa that has not been used for many, many years, been left abandoned, then that land should be used to service the communities in South Africa. That is not even good enough for these white people. They feel that the land should just leave there. Even if they're not using it, they should be entitled to just leave it there unused when millions of African people are landless in their country. This is the kind of attitude that they have, that they're entitled to this land and you shouldn't have no access to this land. And then they want to be compensated at market value for any land that they get. And this land was never theirs to begin with. But anyway, we continue with the narrative. So, this issue that has arisen is an issue all across Africa. Because wherever the colonizer was, they are the owners of the most arable land, the most productive land, were in the hands of the white colonizers. In Zimbabwe, same dynamic. South Africa, Zambia, wherever they were the major landowners. And it seemed as if when they left, they want to leave that same structure in place. And it's the same thing in the Caribbean, the Afrobean as well. Wherever they went, they want to remain the ruling class, the owners of the land, the owners of the means of production. And for us, that's not liberation. That's not justice. That's not a revolution. A revolution is when the people them that was oppressed takes over and run the country for their interest and for their benefit. Liberation is when you're in control of your land and your territory and your resources. And we develop the country for the vast majority of the country. Well, these Afrikaners, they don't care about the majority of the country. African people makes up 90% of that population, but yet still they hold only 4% of the land in South Africa, the arable land, the private land in South Africa. Only 4% is owned by black people. That is unacceptable. That's an injustice. And they want African governments and African people to maintain this level of injustice. And therefore, Donald Trump and Elon Musk are willing to use the power of the United States to enforce their will on African people. That you must abide, you must follow our dictate. And you must allow capital to be dominant in that country. You must allow white minority rule to continue. You must allow them to maintain that economic power that they have in that country. You must allow them to continue to own the vast majority of your land, whether you like it or not. This is called imperialism, dictatorship on African people. And that got to stop. And this is what they don't like. So they use these little false propaganda and bring in these white people to America and make it seem as if somehow they're being persecuted. And you know there's no evidence to support that. Now, when you look at America, it's the same dynamics in America. When the European came to the Americas, they took over the Americas. They took over the land from those indigenous people. America is a criminal enterprise run by the criminal settlers who came there and genocided the people in America and took the land. And now they want to think that they are the legitimizer of land ownership. They are the legitimizer of equality and justice. When they themselves, their foundation is based on criminality, is based on the violation of human rights of indigenous people. That is the reality. But this particular leadership now that are in power, that is in control of the power of imperialism, they represent a version of imperialism that's wrapped in ultra-nationalistic, ultra-white supremacist thinking. And they're deeply ideologically driven. And they know that white supremacy is losing their grip. They know that this Western hegemony is coming to an end. So what you see right now is the last kick of a dying horse. And the kick can be very brutal. But make no mistake about it. The power that they once had, they're losing that grip. They're losing their sting and their bite. The only thing they have left is raw military power. The influence that they once had, that position of dictating to people they once had, is coming. That grip is slowly but surely, they're losing that grip. And they don't like it. And they want to do anything and everything to hold on to power. They don't have that influence anymore that they once had. And others are rising. And that is what they're fearful of. They don't want an independent Africa to rise. They don't want an independent Asia to rise. They don't want an Eastern European rise to take place. They want Western Europe to be the standard of this world. They want to be the gold standard for what is democracy, for what is equality and what is justice. And for them, it means private ownership. It means the ruling, a tiny handful of people should own the vast majority of the wealth. It means that one man can own $200 to $300 billion. And millions of people can go hungry. Millions of people can be homeless. Millions of people can be destitute, have no school, no medical care. While one man a handful of people can have billions and billions and billions of dollars. That's their vision of justice. That's their vision of equality. But we, as people who are striving for genuine freedom, for genuine self-determination, we know better. We know there's no way we can allow this type of injustice to take place and we accept it as normal. This is a blatant use of power to enforce an ideology, to push an ideology of white supremacy on the rest of the world. So we have to see how all this tying together. The situation in South Africa, it continued for so long, so the white people was in control of South Africa for over 400 to 500 years. And it was supported by all the European countries, and including America. They all supported it the whole time. They allowed white people to subjugate black people because they had superior firepower. They had the weaponry. They were superiorly organized with their military forces. So they was able to maintain that dominant position and maintain their foot on the neck of African people for many years. Remember, it was only in 1994 that black people became true citizens of South Africa. And now we want to continue and complete the revolution. And the revolution cannot be completed until African people is in control of their land. African people, indigenous people, must be in control of the land if we want justice to reign in that society. But Donald Trump administration, Elon Musk, and others, and version of this extreme far-right version of imperialism, they don't see it that way. They see it as their right, their destiny to be able to control other people's resources, to dominate other people, to force you to do business with them whether you like it or not. And there's other issues going on with Elon Musk that we must bring in, because he has this little program called Starlink that he wants to spread all over the world, and he want to force people to sign a contract with him to make him billions. But he doesn't want to follow no laws. He doesn't want to be regulated. He wants to be able to come in and do as he please. So South African government have a law in place that if a foreign company is doing business in South Africa, 30% of that business must be owned by indigenous South African. Elon Musk refused to apply for the license to operate in South Africa. He refused to be subjugated to the rules of South Africa because he feels he's above the laws of any country. They're pressuring Gambia as well to sign contract with Starlink, because what they want to do, they want to take advantage of our vulnerability. So if we are a country that lacks internet access, they have the satellites in space where they can provide internet access to remote areas of the world. But you have to sign contract with them. But guess what? China also got satellite. Russia also got satellite. India also got satellite. They don't have a monopoly no more. African people can choose who they want to do business with. And plus, the 5G broadband wireless is far more superior to Starlink, far faster than Starlink. So if we can get access to 5G a fiber optic, we should move towards fiber optic because it's far more faster than what he's offering. But he's now saying that the South African government refused to give him license to operate in South Africa because he's white. But guess what? The Canadian government also refused to give him license. So that means that the Canadian government is denying him because he's white. But this is the kind of propaganda he's spreading on his platform, on his X platform. He's spreading these propaganda that if an African government refused to give him license, it's because he's white. But if China don't give him no license, what is it? China is going to accuse him of being white? Russia not giving him no license. Canada's not giving him no license. He doesn't want to abide by the laws of those people. So he wants to cry racism. It's a sinister, It's a crafty little move. You know, these people have no honor. They have no dignity. They have no integrity. And we shouldn't expect those type of dignity from them. Now, I know that South African president is probably meeting with Donald Trump today, and I'm just hoping that he can stand his ground and go and everything go well, and he can leave there with his dignity intact. Because you can't go there playing with these people. They have no morals. They have no ethics. And they don't care about African people. They see themselves as superior to us. That their perspective is the way. Whether it is based in truth, they don't care. If they say that is the way it is, that is what power does. Power has that effect where the way I see reality is the way it is. If you say it's yellow outside and it's blue, I have to say it's yellow outside as well. Because power dictates reality. And this is what these people are trying to do. They are hell-bent on their ideological position. And it's rooted in white supremacy. And it's masked in this American nationalism. And the funny thing is that Elon is not even born in America, but he's what you call, he's in solidarity with the white supremacy of America. That is where his affinity is with white European domination. So it doesn't matter if it's England or it's in America or it's Norway or in Canada. For him, as long as they're white people, as long as they're in power, that is good for them. And it's all about maximization of profit, to protecting their profit interests, put them in a position of dominance. And we cannot allow any foreign nation or companies to control our information and control our communication system, because they can cut you off at a flick of a switch. To give Elon Musk access to provide internet access in an African country is to compromise our security. We cannot allow that, because not only will he be gathering all that information through his network and his system, he can also cut it off. So in time that we need to consolidate our position and communicate, he can disrupt that significantly. We cannot give no individual that kind of power over us. We need to get in a position where we can launch our own satellite, or we're going to keep running those fiber optic cable in the time being. But no way should we be entering into these type of agreement with these type of people, because they're not people of integrity. They're not people of any type of morality. They're brutal capitalists, and they have this insidious thinking. They have this repulsive, obnoxious, narcissistic type of pathological traits. They're not up for reasoning. They're not up for rationality. They're going to tell you their version, and their version got to be the right version in their mind. So I hope our African leaders, when we enter into and negotiate with these people, we know exactly what we're dealing with. We have to choose our friends, choose our allies, choose our allegiance wisely, because these people are not playing with us. They mean business. They're coming in. Their eyes on our resources. Their eyes on maximizing profits. That is what their main objectives are. So let's not be under no illusion. We have to be clear about what we're dealing with here. Historically, these people have been the most brutal people on this planet. Everywhere they have went, they have sowed the seed of destruction. Death and destruction they have left in their wake. Every nation of people that they have encountered, they have left them crippled, damaged, underdeveloped, impoverished. We're now only just coming out of that disaster, that mangamizi that they've put us through. Now we're seeing some light. Now we are beginning to rise up, strengthen up our spine, and begin to take control of our destiny. We see what's going on in the Sahel, in the confederacy of the Sahel state. We're seeing what's going on with the people's revolutionary process that is taking place in that region of West Africa. particularly with the leadership of our brother Abraham Traore. We need 1,000 Traore across Africa and the Caribbean. We need our people to stand up and take control of our resources, take control of our land, and take control of our destiny. We cannot allow these people to come and dictate to us because we've seen what they have done. We know what they have done. And they have not taken any responsibility for the damages they have done. There's a lot of damage that needs repairing. And we have to be based on, our dealing with them have to be based on principle. They need to acknowledge the damage that they have done to our people. And they need to take steps to repair this damage that they have done to our environment and to our people. That should be the start of our interaction and our any international agreement with these people, these forces that are coming to do business with us. So we have to be clear about our history. And they still are in control of the resources, the profits that have been made in the last 500 years. They are the main beneficiary, Europe and America. And we are still in power, still rising up, still trying to liberate ourselves, still trying to find our footing in this world. But they have superior firepower. They have the firepower. They also may have superior technology. We just have to be aware of that. That's why we have to innovate. We have to build more schools. We have to build more labs. We have to build more technological centers as fast as we can. We have to spare no expense in building scientific institutions that's based on the highest level of physics, chemistry, biology, how to take care of our health, and how to build better tools and better technology to be able to build the goods and the tools that we need to build better society. We have to move with all deliberate speed. You can't hold back when it comes to technology, building our schools and building our hospitals and building the infrastructure necessary to grow our economy, to grow our agriculture, and to make our own tools that is so significant, and to trade amongst each other, and to consume the food that we produce, to consume the product that we create, to unlock the genius of African children. And when they produce products, we will be able to buy it and we'll be able to use it and consume it. So my people, be under no mistake about it. What is happening with the Trump administration and their relationship with South Africa, and by inviting these white South African into America, is nothing more than white supremacy. It's nothing more than the hypocrisy of imperialism, where they tell one people you can't come because we don't need no more refugee, but at the same time they can make exception for white people. That's clear, blatant. That's not even up for debate. Even white people would tell you that. Common people, even people that are not even aware of politics, would see that for what it is. So they're not fooling anybody. But that's what power doesn't care. They don't care how you and I feel about that, because they got power. The best you can hope for is that on the next election coming up, that the people in America will wake up and just throw them out, just vote them out. And listen, I'm starting to suspect now, with the level of technology that they have, with the level of AI technology that's available, they could very well be writing codes to manipulate the election outcome, where they can dictate who's going to win election by using AI behind the scene, and people are unaware of what's going on, because they're putting these people, these oligarchs that they're bringing into power, surrounding Donald Trump with. These are some of the leading technologists on the planet. They know how to program these machines, how to send them out to go do work. So I would not be surprised if I hear a report come out in the future that all along they have been manipulating these election results to put Donald Trump into power. I would not be surprised. But for now, it's only a speculation. But I know they got the capabilities. They got the computer power available. And they got the programming skills available to manipulate the election to make it seem as if Donald Trump actually win and his right wing will win. So mark my word. Cannot prove it, but in the future, these things will be coming out. But anyway, my people, thank you very much for listening to Clear Thinking with Brother Dulani. Do like, share, and subscribe to this broadcast. Help me to get this message out. We need to unmask imperialism. We need to unmask the system of capitalism. We need to unmask white supremacy. We need to show our people that the condition that we're living under is connected to our historical experience. That what we see today is the result of the 500 years of exploitation, of enslavement, and colonization. It's just a continuation. We're in the liberation phase where we're trying to liberate ourselves. We're trying to repair ourselves and develop ourselves in the process. But we have to be careful of the forces that we align ourselves with. These forces are moving against us. Now, many are pretending to be our friends, but they are our enemies. All they want to do is exploit our resources and exploit our people. They don't love us. They don't care about us. Be careful, my people. Tune in the next episode for more Clear Thinking with Brother Dulani. Ashe, Hotep, walk good, my people. Until next time.